Hi folks, my name is Linda Emmett and welcome to Happiness is an Inside Job. We are the creators of our own reality, we create our own lives. Our mind is our biggest limit and it's our own beliefs, behaviours and habits constantly caught in those cycles that keep us trapped where we are and stand in the way of our own happiness. So throughout this podcast, we're going to take a deep dive into some of those beliefs, habits and patterns, where they show up in your lives and what you can do to change them. Hi there folks and welcome aboard this week's podcast where we're getting our festive cheer on for that magical time of year that's just around the corner now. I think for this week it's a great idea to look at Christmas and some of the not so wonderful feelings or emotions it can dredge up for us and trying to walk through them and balance ourselves within the midst of it so we can have a really good Christmas without all the obligations or all the things we should be doing, and I suppose to let go of some of the undue stress that we put on ourselves to have ourselves rocking around shining like our Christmas lights, when a lot of the time behind that we don't often feel like that. It can be extremely stressful. It can be forced off a very, very expensive time of year, and that's for most. That irregardless of whether you have children, we can carry a huge weight of obligation of who we should buy for, what we should buy, the price tag that's on that we buy, how we're going to afford it, who we need to visit, who we need to see. So there is, this can have a huge impact on our own mental health and our emotional health in the run up to Christmas. And as I say, forced around the money side of things. Financially, in the times that we're living in and the price it is just to live in this country alone, getting by week to week, month to month can often be enough of a strain without Christmas coming on board. And as I say, all the expense that comes with that, and trying to move ourselves away from some of that commercial thinking and some of that programming into what it's really about, looking at what we really want to be doing and what we really want to be enjoying this year and finding that. Because above all else, it is intended to be, a peaceful, joyous time of year. But I think for a lot of us, we've moved so far away from that, and it's more about the commercial end of it, that over-resourcing, the over-buying, the over-giving, and as I say, the obligation that comes with Christmas, seeing some of the people that we don't see from one end of the year to the other, but we put on this, sparkly dress, our trousers, false smile, and out the door we go. And some of this comes from the view that we're given across social media and what happiness is supposed to look like. And, the Hallmark cards and the movies that are on where it's, 10 of a family sitting around a table with this giant, beautiful turkey in the middle. They're having all the jollies, they're having the laughs. And we see this as what our Christmas is supposed to look like. And for most families, it doesn't look like that. And it certainly doesn't feel like that. So it's looking at what Christmas is for you and what you want Christmas to be. As I say, we fall into this paradigm from, there's so many movies that even run across Netflix that give you the picture of this time to give, time to share, time to sit around with your family and, have that fantastic, the turkey and the sprouts and the spuds and all of this stuff. It doesn't show you the 6 hours that are behind it where all of this stuff is being cooked. It doesn't show you the family arguments or the people who don't speak to other people or the children running around. It doesn't show you. My point in it is it paints a picture. I don't mean to diss all families here. It's a picture put in front of us, and if we're not living up to this, if this isn't a part of our Christmas, we can feel less than. And the facts of it is, Christmas can often be a time where, we're reminded of the loved ones that we've lost through time, the loved ones that are no longer with us, be that from they've passed on or relationships have broke up or the family dynamic has changed. The children have grown up. They've left the family home. They're creating their own traditions, or the split family where the child spends half the time with the father, half the time with the mother, or that the family picture is a single parent. It doesn't look like what you're seeing on TV. You're not surrounded by the four grandparents and the uncles and the everything else. And this in itself can bring up a lot of emotion for us. You know, I know certainly for me, my Christmas is going to be different this year because I'm not sure whether my own daughter is going to be home from Australia. So I don't know what it's going to look like. And that's true for many of us. You know, many of us, you know, through distance, through time, or through loss, we don't have some of those members of our family around us, and that changes how we feel about this particular Christmas. And it's allowing ourselves to be okay with that, and that we don't have to be the picture perfect family that culture imposes on us, and we don't have to live up to the expectations that we see on TV or social media. People put out the best of themselves. People will put out the best photo of that day or the run up, or there's all the Christmas festivities that come before that. And again, it's not to diss these things, but it's creating the awareness that these can cause a financial burden. These can be things we may not want to attend, and it's allowing ourselves to create our own Christmas this time round, to empower ourselves within our own lives and paint the pictures that we want to create, paint the Christmas and live the Christmas that we want to live. So, as I say, even looking at the mental health side of things, when it comes to, you know, Christmas, it's quite a nostalgic time of year. You know, memories of times past come up. As I say, people we may have lost, we may have had a difficult year, we may have you know, it mightn't have been our best year. I know certainly for me, coming into last Christmas, 2023 in particular, was a very tough year for me. So when it was coming up to the run up to Christmas, the start of it was certainly a forced effort. Now, it turned out to be a beautiful Christmas, but that's because I changed the expectations I put on myself. I changed the people that I was willing to have as part of my Christmas, because sometimes when it comes to family members in particular, you know, we can love people from a distance because we may love them because, you know, we're bonded to them, you know, their siblings, their parents, their uncles, their aunts, or whatever way they show up in your life, but we mightn't necessarily like a lot of their behaviours. And it's okay to say to yourself, okay, I love them, I don't like their behaviours, I don't like their carry on, so I'm going to love them from a distance. And this year I'm going to choose that I'm not going to have that. And it's just setting a healthy boundary for yourself, just allowing yourself to be around the people that you want to be around, to decide for your budget. Families get bigger. I know for me, I've 10 nieces and nephews now, along with a number of sisters. You know yourself, family and friends like us all. And there is a point where you have to say to yourself, I absolutely love these people, each and every one of them. But that doesn't mean that I have 50 quid per person, or wherever the family set, or wherever the friends set, per person, that I'm running into £2,000 just to cover myself for Christmas. And it's saying to yourself that has to change for your mental health, for your well-being, or what your Christmas dinner is going to look like this year. Some people hate sprouts. I know certainly that's me. Do you know what I mean? And it's saying to yourself, you know, okay, I am not going to buy into the absolute madness, because Christmas starts. I mean, today's the 2nd of November, and I know you go down to the shops and it's absolutely all around you. The music itself that's played throughout Christmas can be triggering for us. It can trigger past emotions, and we're left feeling a knot in our stomach or a bit of upset, and then wondering why I'm feeling this way. And it's having the recognition of that and saying, okay, I'm not going to play into the madness. And for a moment, you may feel a sense of disconnection. Oh, everyone else is out there enjoying their jollies. Chances are everyone is out there feeling a little bit of how you're feeling. And it's okay for you to feel that way. It's okay for you to say, right, I'm not buying into the colossal expense or the mad shenanigans that go on. I'm not going to go out that night. I'm not going to be around those people. What I am going to do is create what I want to design this Christmas. And as I say, even when it comes down to, you know, the expectation of going out in sparkles and gems and all of this thing in and around Christmas, if we're struggling with, you know, our weight or things like that, we can also feel like, you know, you don't feel like putting on that sparkly dress. You don't feel like showing up and behaving like everything's okay, especially if your self-worth or your self-confidence is low. And it's saying to yourself, okay, I'm not exactly where I want to be right now, but I am more than a few kilos on my body. I am a person that's loved, I'm a person that's respected, I'm a person that's cared about. Who are the people in my life that enhance that want to be a part of that aren't judging me for, what way I look. They know me for who I am. And those are the people we need to be choosing to be around. Those are the people that light us up, and avoiding and bearing in mind, I mean, like, Christmas is a whole market. Companies put absolutely millions, if not billions, into their advertising campaigns that are built to put us on a roller coaster of emotions, the same way the Christmas movies are. They're built. There's a rare Christmas movie that you won't watch where, it's this humble group of people that are struggling at the start. Then, something amazing happens and it all turns around in the end. And sometimes our Christmases don't look exactly like that. It doesn't turn out absolutely amazing. It might be the turkey, it burns in the oven. It might be something breaks down you weren't expecting to break down in the home. It might be a relationship that breaks down. It doesn't all shine like sparkles and unicorn vomit. It allowing ourselves to be realistic about what we do want to be a part of and what we don't want to be a part of. One of the things I also really want to say here, folks, is, family doesn't always come from the people you were born into. Family is the people that are in your corner and in your life every day of the year. Those are your family. We can create our family. It's looking around within your life and looking at those people that show up for you every day, your earth angels, your loved ones, your, that lovely neighbour, that friend, whoever that is for you. Family is not always who you're born into. And, if we don't, as I say, have that idealistic picture, that's not what we can create. We can feel a bit ashamed. We feel like we fall short. We feel like we don't fit in with the masses. And that's not true. Family is what you build. Whether that comes from your dogs, your cats, your friends, whoever that is for you, they're your peeps, they're your tribe, they're your family. So they're the people you want to be spending your time around. Learning, as I say, create your own traditions, design your own Christmas. Whether that's built on like €5 or €500, whatever that looks like for you. Whether you're creating or making things for people, or you're not going super heavy on the gifts this year, it's making that okay with you and not carrying the shame. As I say, not taking in the mass programming and shifting because you feel like, you feel ashamed or stressed because you don't fit in. As they say, and this, I know this is a little dark, folks, but Christmas is one of the times a year that it's the highest rate of suicide. And again, I put this down to some of the mass programme and what we believe ours should look like. And then when we're feeling pangs of loneliness or pangs of isolation, and I won't lie to you, folks, I know certainly if my daughter isn't home this Christmas, it's one of the great loves of my life, of course I will miss her. Of course I'll be sad. Of course I'll feel those pangs. Will I surround myself with other people that great loves of my life and be around them? 100%. But it doesn't mean that won't leave a hole. It doesn't mean that, possibly a FaceTime at Christmas isn't the same. And it'll be the same for her. And that is the reality of what it can look like for us sometimes. That doesn't mean, I'm going to wallow under a duvet all day, because I do think enough of myself to get out there and enjoy it in different ways. But as I say, it doesn't mean I don't miss her. It doesn't mean I'm not allowed to feel sad about that. It doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to feel that bit lonely without her. And it's okay in that. It's telling yourself that it's okay to feel like that. And then looking at, okay, what other ways can I create those feelings this Christmas? Who else can I be around? What else do I need? What does Christmas look like for me? Is it a bit of a hibernation? It's been a busy year. I wouldn't mind actually sitting and watching all those movies or catching up with that book or having, it's viewing it also as a holiday, viewing it as the time off that it is, or whatever that looks like for you, and saying to yourself, okay, what is it that I do want for myself? Is it the self-care? Is it to just, having a simple family meal? Is it not including family at all? Is it inviting my tribe over? Is it not having a Christmas Day dinner? Is it whatever it is? Is it flying out for Christmas? And creating and designing your own traditions, and allowing yourself and empowering yourself to limit the obligations that you put yourself under. We are so full of obligations this time of the year, and it's okay to not. It's okay to say to yourself, you know, it's about my happiness too. It's about my peeps, it's about my tribe, or it's about my mental health. So limiting the obligations and limiting, as I say, it's sometimes a good thing to love people from a distance, to hold that love in your heart and say, I'm okay from here, and just imposing that healthy boundary. It's also, and the reason I say some of this as well, folks, is this, and it's coming up in a couple of the podcasts. This is a time where Christmas is a time where all our coping mechanisms come out, because we need them more, because we're more stressed, we're more burnt out, we're tireder, the nights are colder, the nights are darker, the weather is at its worst this time of year, and that doesn't come into the magical picture, as I say, that we see. So we pull in our coping mechanisms because we feel like we're not feeling the way we should be feeling. So letting go of the obligations, looking at how you want to design Christmas for yourself, looking at what your coping mechanisms are, and shift the ladder, shift what's driving stressful eating, or what's driving you to drink more, or what's driving you to be doing the things that are self-sabotaging. Why do you keep falling into these patterns? What is it that's in your life at Christmas that's creating them? Because these are the things, and then shift them, and from there you don't need the coping mechanisms, as I say, that a lot of us pull in. You won't be feeling lonely or isolated, and this could be your absolute best Christmas yet, because you've empowered yourself and allowed yourself, and you've made the choices from you. And if it's a thing that you're finding these movies on TV, or what you're being bombarded with on social media, or wherever the spaces are, turn them off. Do what works for you. Read that book you've promised yourself. I've about 80 of them upstairs. I'll probably get one, two maybe. But it's doing those things, finding the you in all of this, finding what makes you happy. Because as I say, folks, here it comes. Happiness is an inside job. And Christmas is also a time of reflection. It's a time of looking back on the year, looking back on what worked for you, what didn't work, what changes you want to make. Implement them at this time of year. Do that for you, and make this the holliest, jolliest Christmas that you've ever had, because this is what you deserve. Time is fleeting, and this is our space, our place on this planet, and you have a right to choose from you. So that's it for me for this week, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it and got some fabulous takeaways. And as always, I invite you to connect in with me across social media, or check me out on my website, www.yourgifttoyou.com, or email me, linda@yourgifttoyou.com, guys, because I'd love to hear from you, and any topics you'd like for us to talk about, or any more learnings that you want. And please remember, give me those reviews, because it keeps the podcast getting out there to more people. So chat to you very soon, guys. Bye bye.